You've probably felt it, that quiet pressure to think less, scroll more, agree faster, and never question too deeply. The truth is, we've built a system that rewards stupidity and punishes wisdom, and most of us are playing along without even realizing it. In this video, we'll uncover how intelligence became a threat, how entertainment replaced freedom, and how the modern world quietly trains you to stop thinking. If you believe wisdom still matters, hit like now and subscribe to join this growing circle of people who refuse to be programmed. Let's begin.
The profitable machine of stupidity.
You know what's fascinating? We've built a world where being stupid isn't just acceptable. It's actually more profitable than being wise. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you saw someone get promoted for asking uncomfortable questions? When did critical thinking ever trend on social media? The truth is, we're living in an era where modern stupidity has evolved from a personal failing into the very engine that keeps our society running. It's not a bug in the system anymore. It's the main feature. Carlo Cipolla, the brilliant economist, once outlined his laws of human stupidity, but even he couldn't have imagined how we'd industrialize it. See, in the past, stupidity was something societies tried to minimize. Education was the cure, wisdom the goal. But somewhere along the way, we discovered something disturbing. Stupid people are easier to control, easier to sell to, and much easier to predict. They don't question the narrative, they don't resist the programming, and most importantly, they don't threaten the status quo. The machine of stupidity doesn't just tolerate ignorance, it actively cultivates it like a cash crop. Here's where it gets really twisted. The system doesn't need you to be completely brain dead. That would be too obvious. Instead, it needs you smart enough to operate the machinery, but too distracted to question why you're operating it. You're encouraged to have opinions as long as they're prepackaged ones. You're allowed to be angry as long as it's at the designated targets. This profitable machine of stupidity runs on emotional reactions, not rational thoughts. It feeds on your outrage, your fear, your desperate need to belong, transforming these raw materials into engagement metrics, voting patterns, and purchasing decisions. And the most insidious part? The machine rewards you for playing along. Every time you share that inflammatory headline without reading the article, every time you choose the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth, you get a little dopamine hit, a few more likes, maybe even a promotion at work for being a team player. The system has turned collective stupidity into a form of social currency. But here's the thing. While you're getting paid in this counterfeit wisdom, something else is happening in the shadows.
The algorithm's invisible chains.
The algorithms that run your life don't care about your intelligence. They care about your engagement. And guess what keeps you engaged? It's not thoughtful analysis or nuanced perspectives. It's the stuff that triggers your lizard brain, fear, anger, lust, and that sweet, sweet validation of having your existing beliefs confirmed. These algorithmic controls have created invisible chains around our minds. And the scariest part is, we're the ones who forge them stronger every single day with each click, swipe, and share. Dietrich Bonhoeffer wrote about the theory of stupidity during Nazi Germany, observing how intelligent people could become stupid under certain social conditions. But even he couldn't have imagined our current situation, where the social conditioning happens at the speed of light, delivered personally to billions of screens simultaneously. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself. It knows exactly which buttons to push to keep you scrolling, to keep you angry, to keep you buying. It's not just manufacturing consent anymore, it's manufacturing your entire reality, one perfectly curated feed at a time. Think about how this digital distraction works in practice. You wake up intending to research something important, maybe learn something new. But within minutes, you're watching videos of people doing stupid challenges, arguing about manufactured controversies, or consuming content that makes you feel smart without actually teaching you anything. The algorithm has learned that real wisdom takes time to digest, but systemic ignorance can be delivered in 6-second clips. Guess which one keeps you on the platform longer? Guess which one makes more money? The truly diabolic genius of these invisible chains is that they feel like freedom. You think you're choosing what to watch, what to read, what to believe, but the algorithm has already pre-selected your options based on what will keep you most engaged, which usually means most emotional and least rational. You're not exploring the internet. You're exploring a tiny, personalized prison cell designed to look exactly like what you want to see. And while you're distracted by the pretty wallpaper, you don't notice that your capacity for critical thinking is atrophying like an unused muscle.
Entertainment, the new opium.
Aldous Huxley warned us, but we were too entertained to listen. In Brave New World, he painted a picture of a society controlled not through pain and oppression, but through pleasure and distraction. Sound familiar? We're living in that world now, where the entertainment society has replaced the need for traditional censorship. Why ban books when you can just make sure nobody has the attention span to read them? Why suppress dangerous ideas when you can drown them in an endless stream of cat videos and reality TV? Neil Postman picked up where Huxley left off, arguing that we're amusing ourselves to death. But here's what even Postman didn't fully grasp. The entertainment isn't just a distraction from important things. It has become the important thing. We've reached a point where serious issues must be entertaining to matter. Politicians are judged like reality TV contestants. News is delivered with the same dramatic flair as sports commentary. Even education has to be gamified to hold anyone's attention. The medium hasn't just become the message. It's become the entire cognitive slavery system that keeps us pacified. The most insidious part of this new opium is how it hijacks our reward systems. Every notification, every new episode, every infinite scroll delivers a tiny hit of dopamine, just enough to keep you coming back, never enough to truly satisfy. We become addicts, but instead of acknowledging our addiction, we celebrate it. Binge watching is a badge of honor. Doom scrolling is just what everyone does. We've normalized this digital distraction to the point where not being constantly entertained seems weird, even suspicious. When someone says they don't have social media or don't watch TV, we look at them like they're some kind of alien. And while we're all getting high on this endless entertainment, something profound is happening to our collective consciousness. We're losing the ability to sit with discomfort, to wrestle with complex ideas, to delay gratification for deeper understanding. The entertainment society hasn't just made us stupid. It's made us intellectually lazy, emotionally fragile, and desperately dependent on the next fix. We've traded our birthright of critical thinking for a mess of digital pottage. But the real question is, who's writing the script for this grand performance we're all watching?
Manufacturing obedience through spectacle.
Guy Debord saw it coming. The transformation of life into spectacle, where manufactured consent isn't achieved through force, but through the endless parade of images and narratives. We're not living our lives anymore. We're watching them unfold on screens, performed by others, interpreted by experts, and validated by metrics. The spectacle isn't just what we watch, it's what we become. Every Instagram post, every political scandal, every viral moment, it's all part of the same hypnotic dance that keeps us obedient without ever feeling oppressed. Noam Chomsky explained how manufactured consent works in traditional media, but even his analysis feels quaint compared to our current reality. The old model required a few powerful media outlets to shape public opinion. Now, we manufacture our own consent, eagerly participating in our own manipulation. We share the propaganda, we create the content, we police each other's thoughts. The spectacle has made us both prisoners and guards in our own mental detention center. The system doesn't need to oppress us when we're so effective at oppressing ourselves and each other. Consider how this plays out in real time. A complex global issue gets reduced to a hashtag. Nuanced discussions become team sports. You're either with us or against us. The spectacle demands that everything be simple, dramatic, and emotionally charged. There's no room for saying, "I don't know," or "it's complicated," because uncertainty doesn't generate engagement. The algorithmic control systems reward the loudest, most extreme voices while thoughtful analysis gets buried under the noise. We're not forming opinions anymore. We're choosing teams in an endless game where the only rule is to keep playing. The true genius of manufacturing obedience through spectacle is that it makes resistance feel futile. How do you fight against something that's everywhere and nowhere at once? How do you resist when resistance itself becomes part of the show? Even this video you're watching could be seen as part of the spectacle, content about the problem that keeps you watching instead of acting. The spectacle has thought of everything, anticipated every move, commodified every form of rebellion. Or has it? Perhaps there's something it didn't count on. The persistent human capacity to think, really think, even when thinking itself becomes an act of defiance.
When intelligence becomes inconvenient.
Here's a truth that'll make your blood run cold. In our current system, being genuinely intelligent is actually a liability. I'm not talking about being smart in the way society defines it, having the right degrees, knowing the right buzzwords, or being able to game the system. I'm talking about real intelligence, the kind that questions fundamental assumptions, sees through comfortable lies, and refuses to play along with collective stupidity. That kind of intelligence? It's become profoundly inconvenient for everyone involved, including the person cursed with it. Think about what happens to truly intelligent people in most organizations today. They're the ones pointing out that the emperor has no clothes while everyone else is complimenting his outfit. They're labeled as difficult, not team players, or my personal favorite, overthinking things. The systemic ignorance has become so normalized that anyone who refuses to participate in it is seen as the problem. You want to keep your job? Don't be the smartest person in the room. Be the most agreeable. You want to succeed socially? Don't challenge people's comfortable delusions. Validate them. The wisdom punishment goes even deeper than professional and social consequences. On a psychological level, intelligent people in a stupid system suffer from a unique form of torture. They can see the problems clearly, understand the solutions, but are powerless to implement them because the system itself is designed to resist intelligence. It's like being the only sober person at a party where everyone else is drunk and insisting on driving home. You can see the disaster coming, but your warnings are dismissed as paranoia or party pooping. This isn't just frustrating, it's soul-crushing. But here's where it gets really interesting. The system hasn't just made intelligence inconvenient, it's actually redefined what intelligence means. Now, being smart means knowing how to navigate the stupidity, not eliminate it. It means being clever enough to exploit the system while appearing to support it. The most rewarded people aren't the wisest. They're the ones who've mastered the art of strategic stupidity, knowing exactly when to play dumb and when to show just enough competence to be useful but not threatening. Meanwhile, genuine wisdom sits in the corner, unemployed and uninvited.
The banality of modern evil.
Hannah Arendt gave us the phrase, the banality of evil, while covering the Eichmann trial, describing how ordinary people commit monstrous acts not out of inherent evil, but through thoughtlessness and conformity. Now we're living through something even more disturbing, the gamification of that same banality. The collective stupidity hasn't just enabled evil, it's made it trending, shareable, and sponsored by your favorite brands. We're not just following orders anymore, we're hitting like on them. The modern manifestation of banal evil doesn't look like concentration camps or show trials. It looks like algorithms deciding who deserves healthcare, like AI systems perpetuating racial bias, like social media mobs destroying lives over context-free screenshots. The evil is hidden in plain sight, wrapped in terms of service agreements, and justified by engagement metrics. Cipolla's laws of stupidity suggested that stupid people cause harm to others while gaining nothing themselves. But our system has evolved beyond that. Now, causing harm to others is the gain, measured in views, clicks, and ad revenue. What makes our current situation uniquely terrifying is how the cognitive slavery has made us active participants in our own degradation. We're not just victims of systemic ignorance, we're its eager enforcers. We cancel people for decade-old tweets while ignoring present-day atrocities. We virtue signal about trivial issues while remaining silent about systemic oppression. We become so focused on performing morality for the spectacle that we've forgotten what actual moral action looks like. The banality of evil has evolved into the virality of evil, spreading faster than any plague ever could. And here's the darkest truth of all. The system has made us so stupid that we can't even recognize evil anymore unless it comes with the right aesthetic. If it's packaged correctly, marketed effectively, and endorsed by the right people, we'll not only tolerate it, we'll celebrate it. We've created a world where Aaron's thoughtless bureaucrat has been replaced by millions of thoughtless content creators, each contributing their small part to a machine they don't understand and couldn't stop if they wanted to. But perhaps, just perhaps, understanding the machine is the first step toward throwing a wrench in it.
Wisdom as revolutionary act.
Nietzsche declared that God was dead, but he didn't live to see what would replace him: the algorithm, the spectacle, the systematic stupidity that demands worship through endless engagement. In this context, genuine wisdom isn't just valuable, it's revolutionary. It's the last form of intellectual resistance available to us, the final no in a world that demands constant yes. When everyone else is racing toward the cliff, the wise person who stops to think becomes a radical by default. But let's be clear about what wisdom means in our current context. It's not about having the right answers. It's about having the courage to ask the wrong questions. It's the willingness to be seen as stupid by a stupid system. It's choosing long-term understanding over short-term validation. When Bonhoeffer wrote about the theory of stupidity, he noted that stupidity is more dangerous than evil because evil can be protested and exposed, but stupidity disarms its opponents. Well, wisdom is the only weapon that can pierce through that disarmament. It's the sword that cuts through the manufactured consent, the light that exposes the invisible chains. The wisdom punishment is real, and it's severe. Choose wisdom, and you'll find yourself increasingly isolated in a world that mistakes noise for communication and reaction for thought. You'll watch people you care about disappear into their personalized propaganda bubbles, and when you try to pull them out, they'll see you as the enemy. You'll have to make peace with being misunderstood, undervalued, and often actively resented. The entertainment society doesn't just ignore wisdom, it treats it as a threat to be neutralized. Because a truly wise person is impossible to control, impossible to predict, and impossible to sell to. Yet, here's the beautiful paradox. In a world where stupidity has become systematic, wisdom becomes more powerful than ever. Not because it can change the system, at least not immediately, but because it can change individuals. One person choosing to think deeply, to question seriously, to resist intelligently, creates a ripple effect that no algorithm can calculate. It's a form of resistance that can't be commodified, can't be turned into content, can't be absorbed into the spectacle. It stands apart, alien and attractive, dangerous and necessary.
Breaking free from the stupidity reward system.
So how do you actually break free? First, understand that the stupidity reward system isn't just external, it's been internalized. You've been programmed to seek the same quick dopamine hits, the same social validation, the same comfortable lies as everyone else. Breaking free starts with recognizing your own participation in the profitable machine of stupidity. Every time you share without reading, react without thinking, or choose comfort over truth, you're feeding the beast. The first step to freedom is admitting you're part of the problem. The practical path to wisdom in a stupid world isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, daily acts of intellectual resistance. Read long-form content when everything pushes you toward clips. Have real conversations when everyone else is exchanging memes. Question the narrative when it would be easier to nod along. These aren't just personal development tips. They're acts of rebellion against a system that profits from your thoughtlessness. Every moment you spend in genuine reflection is a moment stolen back from the algorithmic control that seeks to own your attention completely. But here's the crucial part most people miss. Breaking free from the stupidity reward system doesn't mean becoming a hermit or a Luddite. It means learning to navigate the system without being absorbed by it. Use the tools without becoming a tool. Engage with the spectacle while maintaining your distance from it. Think of it like being a spy in enemy territory. You need to speak their language, understand their games, but never forget who you really are and what you're really after. This kind of strategic wisdom is exhausting, but it's the only way to maintain your sanity in an insane world. The ultimate goal isn't to destroy the stupidity reward system. That's probably impossible at this point. The goal is to build an alternative system within yourself, one that rewards depth over superficiality, understanding over reaction, and wisdom over cleverness. This is what Nietzsche meant by becoming who you are, not accepting the identity the system assigns you, but creating your own values in a world that's forgotten what values even mean. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, and also the most necessary.
The last act of rebellion.
We live in a world that pays you for obedience and punishes you for awareness. But as you've seen, breaking free doesn't mean escaping society. It means thinking inside it without surrendering your mind. Every moment you choose reflection over reaction, truth over comfort, you weaken the system that profits from your distraction. If this message resonated with you, leave a like, share this video, and subscribe. Not for numbers, but to help wisdom survive in a world that's forgotten its value. Because in the end, thinking for yourself is the last true act of rebellion.